I'm sweating like a hoe in church because Willow started speaking some truths. She got a little too real, y'all. With the guitar. We both talk about all the time how we want to find enlightenment or whatever. And it's like, okay, but you're feeding yourself with love and hip hop.
Oh my God.
And real shit, this feels like the music and the lyrics were made to be together. And that is like an entirely different listening experience. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. It's been so long. I actually didn't realize it was coming out this soon.
Yeah. I'm ready to whip my hair. I'm ready to be a 21st century girl.
Yeah.
Can't think of any others. I'm ready to split. I'm ready to go that shit. One more?
Nope. Don't do it.
How many songs is it?
12, I believe.
It's only 12 songs?
Oh, yeah. Perfect albums are either 10, 12, or 13 songs. Or 14. 14's when it's like...
You think?
Yeah. I think that's like the perfect length for an album.
Heidi's been giving us like 16 song albums.
Not I have to fact check you.
Hello.
18 songs. Mood Valiant. 12 songs. See?
Okay.
I tell you, like, succinct albums are just... They don't have to do much. That doesn't count. That's 10 songs. Yeah, so 10 songs. I think that's a good, like, you know.
Yeah, 12 is like the golden album number. 12,
I think
13.
when
That's
you do 12,
does, right?
you're like, this is, like the years. We're doing a full album.
Well,
beginning to end,
it's like,
a story.
I'm about to say, it's like 10 solid songs, an intro, and an ending, like, you know?
And then I feel like if you do 13, then you're just like a kooky girl, and you're like, 13.
Throw an interlude in there somewhere.
You're like an alt girl, you're like, period. 13 is like full, but then a little bit of extra.
Yeah.
14 is like that, and then you're like, I need to put a whole body of work out. There's the deluxe or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they'll usually just 12. I feel like it's been 12 every album.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 21 was like that. Do you think, like, it's better to start off as an artist and put out lots of songs out? And then just, you know, edit it down over time?
What do you mean?
Well, I was just saying a good album is, like, a very short album. But I feel like when you start off, obviously, it might be better to just do long. Like, just put out work. But I guess... Yeah, you learn how to edit yourself as you go.
I mean, I feel like it just depends on like what type of setting you want to set up for yourself in the music, like in the music landscape. Because I feel like if you intend on being a Chris Brown or like a Drake or something like that, then like putting out 40 songs is like not a problem because your priority is hit making and like your priority is like covering as much as you can, like covering as much charge as you can. Whereas if you're thinking about art in that way where it's like a means of expression and like creating bodies of work, then you're more likely to do like edits and things like that because you're trying to create something intentionally as opposed to just like making music to put out there and like for numbers' sake.
Because I was talking about new artists, think about like Queen Herbie who puts out 100 EPs. Not just to put music, but because she can put music out and it's more earlier in her career that makes more sense. But then you got like Melanie, who's somebody you know can do that and still manages to only put out, you know, the work that she finds to be worthy to be in the mainstream of her discography.
I don't know. I feel like it's a little like obviously it's subjective, but I feel like it can be very different for different people because when you say Queen Herbie, I don't think of her shitting out music just because although she does put out a lot of music, it's always very like organized. Like it's always like there's a reason, there's an intention, there's a world. She gives it to you.
And like you said, it's organized, so she's found a way to put out a lot of music and be able to do it in
it's still like, its own thing.
And not feel like that's a lot.
People just be like dropping a single every 3 months and it's like, you know, you don't even put any work into that single. She like does the EP and then it's like for that 6 months, that is the world that she's in and that's what you're getting. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Whereas like, it's like you're just dropping stuff on TikTok once a month and everything is different. It's kind of just like, well, what are you doing? What's the goal? You know? So fortunately, we have girlies like Willow who don't have to be on the scene very often because when they do come, they leave timeless bodies of work to feed you for a good amount of time. Because I could play with my hair right now and get down. I can play 21st Century Girl right now and get down. I can play Fireball right now.
Not Fireball.
And get down. Hello? Yes.
I'm the Fireball of the party. I'm the
Fireball of the party.
When you bitches have a fireball, let me know.
Fireball?
When y'all got a fireball, let me know.
No, I mean like an actual ball. and the theme is fire.
Hi!
And then we're only playing that song.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
I'm really excited for this new era of Willow, though, because I feel like, we've had our own, conversations around this whole spiritual thing that she's getting into, but I think that it's really, really nice for her to do it as a young person who is, like, in the media and in, like, our, current, like, mainstream pop culture. I feel like she has a connection, her fingers on the pulse, even though people may not really, like, pay attention to Willow's music as much as they should, but you still know Willow Smith, you know what I mean? People still pay attention to Willow Smith when Willow Smith does something. So it's nice for her to be, like, on her enlightenment wave, because the girlies need to be enlightened. Enlightenment is far and few between. Y'all need to search for higher ground. And she is promoting the act of doing so. So I'm living for it.
We love that. I didn't even know she was 23. Just found out when we watched her interview.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But even like you were just saying, like, I feel like we are only just starting to enter into our like almost like pre-adult spiritual like enlightenment journey, and it's nice to hear that young people, someone as young as her, can be like
even care.
Yeah, to even care, to even like bother to worry about that kind of stuff. Is like
and care in a way that is specific to them and their experience and their growth, not in a way that is like inherited via family and tradition and things like that. Because we have a lot of girlies who are religious that are young and coming up, but they're religious in the context that they were taught. Whereas she is being investigative and inquiring all the things that she's learning so that she can find that higher ground for herself. Because that's like makes me think of the Jubilee video we watched. Sorry, continue. The Jubilee video we watched where there were so many young people who were like, religion, God, we do want to get better. But you're learning it in the Southern context and the confines of the stuff that the church has taught you is okay, which is not aligned with, the human rights that we are trying to instill.
To jump into the lyrics already, that just reminded me of Symptom of Life. That lyric I told you, worship a God that I didn't know.
Yes, stood in a temple of a God I didn't know. Yeah,
it's very that. Like you were just saying, like that.
I'm here and I'm in the temple and doing other things, but I don't even know whose temple this is.
Right,
which is crazy.
But I am on the journey to find such things.
But
period.
Wow, you better give us a word.
Swallowed up.
Willow got the grills and the fro out, and I'm feeling all the vibes.
Do you remember what empathogen means?
Yes, I believe Willow said that empathogen was basically a combination of empathy and pathogens. Pathogens being like parasites or
ancient parasites,
or like like viruses or things that enter the body, and empathy being empathy. And so combining those two things and thinking of the idea of like things in getting into you to give you the power of empathy in that way. So I think it's almost like trying to paint it in a positive light as a superpower, because the idea of like pathogen, when you hear it, usually sounds like a disease or something negative like happening to you, whereas empathogen, which could still be perceived as negative, is, I feel like in this context, more of a superpower, especially with like big feelings being a single, and it's like, big feelings. I have such big feelings, very much that, and it's the truth, and it is what it is, and that's what it will be, and we will work with it. I remember her saying something about like the idea of empathogens comes from, like you said, something ancient and whatever, but I can't remember where exactly she was.
Because what is a pathogen?
A virus or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember what she was saying about ancient pathogens. Or like, maybe she was saying the idea that there are these ancient pathogens which induce empathy or something like that.
Well, she was talking about her like healing thing that she went and learned from wherever she learned it from. And she was saying that in that learning was where she learned about that. So I think the idea of empathogens in that religion is specific to like their beliefs. So that's why I feel like we need to just see what it is. Because I think it's like a part of that, like their like that religion story, and they believe in like empathogens and do things like
that. Just from hearing it, it just like, I think it reminds me of
30 minutes is hilarious.
A conversation we were just having about like art and like its negative and like positive impact in your life. And just think about that in the same way where it's like empathy, how it can be a negative or positive thing, or even just like framing it in that way. It's interesting. Very interesting.
For sure. We're about to get into Empathogen by Willow. Super excited. It's categorized as contemporary jazz, which I live for, because let me note this again. Actually, I might just have to throw the screenshot up here so you hoes can see it, because she actually
Confirm.
She doubled down on what I'm about to say. Y'all slept on coping mechanism when she was in her rock era, and now she's back in a whole new category to shit on you hoes. Contemporary jazz, please. Okay, let's get into it. Our first song is Home.
We're home.
We're home.
No.
No lyrics? Good. We don't gotta look at it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Firstly, because we had just watched part of her interview, she really, like she said, it's very much giving like hiatus Coyote is so much influence here right now.
Yes.
I love that so fucking much.
Yeah, the hiatus influence is nice.
It's so prevalent, and it's like, I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, not
I
at all.
love it. And even when she talked about how Alone was supposed to be her transitionary, like a bridge song from Coping Mechanism to this project, I feel like even in Home, I saw a bit of that.
Yeah.
And in the bridge, like, and the like the breakdown, it was like
yeah.
the isms, like the ad libs were giving very Coping Mechanism, and it sounds like she was about to go like ham.
Yeah.
So it sounds so interesting to go from Alone into this song. It's like we're easing into this new like vibe. I'm in love. I'm literally in love already.
I absolutely loved the musicality of it, like the time signature changing and those like really random little moments. And it was like it was like 2 bars of time signature change, and then it would go back into like its own little shit. Like it was really weird. I loved all the piano like ad-libbing, like the background
That's
stuff.
all John Batiste, yeah?
Yes, I assume so, yeah. And even like the wailing in the background and the runs, like, and you were saying like it felt like she was about to go in, and it's because there were big like doing screaming and like somebody was screaming and stuff in the background to like build that tension and stuff. Like there were a lot of things that it started tinging as if it was about to go screamo, and then it would dial back, like it would get soft again. I really enjoyed also the lyric because at first I thought she was saying I live my life in a river of gray, but I think
or Grace.
Grace. She said Grace.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Absolutely love that. I live my life in a river of grace, and I trust it to lead me home.
Is Grace or Gray?
Grace, I think.
So I was gonna say, tagging onto the whole thing about coping mechanism and the bridge of Alone into this, that felt like the river. The river felt at this moment it was coping mechanism, like carrying her into home, whatever home is. And it felt like that. It felt like it was the screamo coming about was channeling her into whatever this is. Yeah. And I found that so like. Yeah. And I kind of like the idea of it being gray too. Yeah, I did too. Because a river of gray just sounds like. So visually crazy.
Well, yeah, you know, when I first heard it, I was like, get out of my head. Immediately get out of my head. I was like, because I thought she said gray, but then I was like,
and that's what I was thinking too. I was like, why is everyone doing the gray thing? Yeah, you just started.
Yeah, because I literally have been using that comparison so often recently.
Like the idea of like things being blurred and no lines. The idea of gray. Yeah. So
I also think it's really cool because we always talk about how like the idea of enlightenment and like finding that like I don't know that like perfect. Like that perfect form of spirituality for yourself and religion in that way is when you get to the point where it's not about the specifics of it. It's just about like finding the positive in all the things that are going on in life and like being in a healthy enough state to handle whatever is coming to you without it like, you know, throwing you back into a depression or throwing you into full ego, you know what I mean? Like whatever it may be. So I think that the idea of, like you just said, coping mechanism carrying her into home or whatever, I think that, like, she's, like, really, number one, showing her writing skills in the way that we, even like you said, it's like it feels so hiatus inspired, and it's like one of the hiatus' strengths that we always love is her ability to like pull out things from nature and apply them to like universal truths that is like it literally can make you like it applies to your entire life, and you have no choice but to be able to like absorb and understand it, because it's like, well, I know what a river is, I know what it, you know what I mean? It's like when she says it, when hiatus says it, you're like, you know, I know exactly what she's saying because I know what a slug is or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so I think in the same way, it's really, really cool that she's like getting into her bag of being able to access those like universal truths and the way that they aligned with the world that we exist in for people to like get it, because it's a very different conversation for her to just come on here and say, trust your life because things will end up being okay at some point, than for her to come on here and say, I let myself flow through the river of grace and trust it to take me home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's such a, the poeticism is like at a in high, like 3 million.
I think like a lot of the energy of this album is from the dichotomy of her last one to this one. Even think visually of the cover, which is like the guitar smashing through a TV. It's dark, which matches the like tone of the album, which wouldn't I say is dark, but it's, you know, gritty.
Yes, it's about rock. It's like angst and real emotion.
To come into like what you were just saying about like reflecting on positivity, and the cover is literally this like black woman, hair out, looking happy, like
right. And she says it in the song too. She says, "I love my life" or something like that. I heard her say something. She said, "I love my life" or something like that, and I love that.
I love lyrics like that. I love that. Just like,
I love that.
Just say it, girl.
Because that's the reality. Like we said, that's the reality of like getting to that point. It's not negating the idea that bad things are happening. It's the ability to exist in positivity despite the negative things that are happening. And so like, yes, there is a bunch of stuff happening around me, but I choose to love my life and look at it in a positive manner. And that's when you're able to get things like this that feel so layered, but still allow you to like feel positive and happy about it. Because like I said, they're screaming, there's these like tension piano notes and all these things. It feels eerie. The sound kept slowing down and speeding up, and it makes you feel uncomfortable the way that life does. But despite that, she's saying, I love my life and I would trust the river to take me home. It just like, like we just said, using lyrics, sound, vocal ability, music, arrangement, all of the things to like tell the story. You know what I mean?
At this point, influence and the paratext of her previous album to this is like all working together so much.
Yes. And also this song also just showed how versatile her voice is. Her like flipping in between her registers and all that shit. Like,
I love it.
Willow's a beast. Like you said, she uses her voice like an instrument, literally. Because the beginning of the song is her doing the harmonies. She literally starts off, like doing other things. She got me getting hot. I'm getting all worked up.
It's episode 1. Ancient Girl gives very like Arthropithecus.
Child. Anyway, so
title vibes. You know
I love that though. Yeah. She's very much like a look into the past and find things type of vibe. Like she's always being inspired by things like that, which I think is really cool.
And I think that's it's probably the heart of like what we talk about. It's just like, which is so funny. Oh, I love this.
The power of documentation.
Not even, well, more so even the idea of like drawing from the past in that way. But it's so funny because we always talk about how a lot of the bad things in the world do come from the past as well. And then also think about empathogens, the idea of like negative and positive things about being, about reflection. It'll all come from the same place, but it's about how you use it,
For sure. All right, that was a great song. I really liked Home.
Yeah, very great first song. I feel like people don't pay attention enough to first songs anymore.
Because what an intro, truly. Like, all the things that we just got from that paints, like, such a picture. You know what I mean? Sets a bar, creates a world, an expectation about what's really about to come. And now we're about to get, like, some shit.
Alone's stuck in my head now.
The intro is
I can't get it out.
Yeah.
Alone. Ancient girl, she ain't she.
That girl, she ain't she. Bitch, you out. You out.
You out. You angry. Okay.
Whisper soft in the story of that ancient girl entranced in the dark. Lies the story of that ancient girl. In the story of that ancient girl who worshipped no name drink.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. She's really like showing me how important it is to learn instruments. Because my mind only goes to like how aligned the lyrics are with the music. And this makes me now feel the disconnect that so much other music has where it feels like somebody sent you this beat and you made your lyrics to the beat that was already made in the studio. It feels like producers sent you this beat and you just put words over it. Whereas this feels like the music and the lyrics were made to be together. And that is like an entirely different listening experience. That is a completely different listening experience. Like right now I feel like I'm watching a movie. Like that gave movie score. Like who the fuck is this ancient girl? I'm here. We're here. Like I'm in it.
It's like I tell you about the idea of textures in terms of like the arrangement of parts.
Yeah.
It's because I think it's like either monophonic or homophonic that they're both doing the same melody. And as you can see, that it's interesting that you say that's the like effect it has, that it feels very movie score because it's correlating very well.
Yeah, with the storyline for sure.
Instead of like a polyphonic rhythmic rhythm.
Scroll through it a little bit so we can read through.
That first bit, like,
Whisper softly the story of an ancient girl entranced with the elders in their caves. Drink sacrament overflowing, telling secrets in the dark. Lies, a story of an ancient girl. Wow.
Lies, a story of an And
wow.
Here's me reading into it, being like, lies, a story.
Yes.
Being like, also lies.
Yes.
And again, thinking about the past and our relationship to it, whether it's crazy. Going from being like no control in the last one to now feeling like you're coming home. But going off that same energy that brought you there in the first place is like crazy. Crazy. I love that. It was nice and short.
Oh, I loved it. Loved it.
I'm actually almost going to be mad at how short this is.
Yeah.
I can
feel it. It's going to be like coping mechanism where it's like, I'm going to want to listen to every song 24 times.
Literally. Damn.
At the same time. All together at once. Alright, what's the next one? Oh, Symptom of Life. Okay, period. We've heard this one before, but y'all haven't seen us react to it. You still won't, I guess, because we know it already. You can sing every word. You can watch us sing every word.
Let's sing along.
Just press play.
This is a symptom of life.
Symptom of Life. Press play. Let's go.
Looking at you now, I'm wondering who am I? I don't know, I noticed the light. Magic is real when you see it inside your desire. It's like a snake shedding skin, transcending virtue and sin. Eyes on over things, more beauty is a symptom of life. Gotta decide if I'm gonna see it right. Feast our eyes on over things.
Wow, I really like that.
Feast our eyes on lower things when suffering is craving delight. I never got that.
Let's dissect that one real bit.
Feast our eyes on lower things when suffering is craving delight.
Feast our eyes on lower things when suffering
is craving delight.
Yeah. Well, feast our eyes on lower things when you're already suffering.
Yeah. So to me, that is feast our eyes on lower things when suffering is craving delight. Is you feast your eyes on lower things like you scroll through TikTok all day. And suffering is craving delight. We both talk about all the time how we want to find enlightenment or whatever. And it's like, okay, but you're feeding yourself with love and hip hop.
Oh my God.
And real shit. We feast our eyes on lower things and suffering is craving delight. We're already suffering just trying to get better. And we're feasting on shit that is only making us lower. You know what I mean? Which is like crazy. So feast our eyes on lower things when suffering is craving delight. You got to decide how you're going to heal it. How you're going to heal it.
Yes.
We're suffering regardless, but you have to decide what you're going to use to heal that.
And I'm just like realizing that the song is becoming like co-current to everything else going on.
That's going on, yes.
Transcending virtue and sin.
Yes.
Well, virtue and sin.
Yes.
Like, And something, yeah, you decide. Magic is real when you see it inside. You decide. Like very much, it's your idea of it. Even I'm realizing symptom of life because a symptom is always a
negative thing. Yeah.
So
symptom of life.
A symptom. Like,
I didn't even think about that. And the idea of like empathogen also being that like oxymoron. Exactly. Symptom of life is also kind of like an oxymoron in that way, or
it's
like a
an
double
oxymoron
negative.
because it could be either way, right?
Wow.
But normally it is negative, a symptom.
Wow.
And I love that it's becoming like a through line of
right,
positive or negative, but it's about how you decide.
But again, again though, because we always talk about how the telltale of a true artist, well, for me personally, it's something that I find when I love writers, is when they're able to say the same thing in 68 different fucking ways. That's like when we listen to Nicki and she's like, you're saying the same thing, and it's like, no, you just didn't realize that she said the same thing, but it was 4 different meanings throughout the entire thing. Right. She said business 4 times, but she was the same business 4 times.
Can I fucking lie?
You know what I mean? And so many of our great lyricists do the same shit. So now I'm here looking at this and we're like, empathogen, symptom of life, and throughout this whole thing, you're transcending virtue and sin, all these other things where it's like, it's the exact same sentiment, and she's finding 80 million different poetic ass ways to portray this, and now we have this entire song that encapsulates one feeling that is actually like 50 different feelings all in one.
I think what you're referring to is like the idea. I think probably what the idea that these artists are realizing is simplicity, and when you strip it down to like the bare bones of what it is, you realize it's all the same thing anyway. And so you're just saying like, you know, but you have to recognize what that is at its core.
Like the idea of like learning the rules to break them.
Or even and in this specific context, learning the like fluidity of everything and realizing that there are no boundaries. So by not putting in, not by putting your 2 cents, but not by pushing or pulling the layers. Not by pushing or pulling like the narrative in that way. You're leaving it open to be open for anyone to interpret. So it's like about like, finding that balance basically.
Also, this line, feeling absence of time, knowing all is decided. There's nothing left here to find. The story's all in my mind.
Wow.
And that is like
literally what we talk about with fate.
Yes.
And destiny and how everything's written.
But also, but the idea that like she feels that, like she feels in this world already that like all of the meanings that she's trying to attribute to this stuff is like stuff that she's creating in her head to make the reality of this like set in stone mundanity more livable. Do you get what I'm saying?
But it's about changing your perspective.
But literally, it's about changing, again, another way to say the same shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, perfection. The pen is immaculate.
You're right.
Immaculate. Immaculate.
And then 4 lines literally saying that, like, conversation we had, like, for 30 minutes, or could spawn for 30 minutes from all is decided, there's nothing here left to find. The story's all in my mind. And again, it's open-ended where it could be, that could feel very trapped in that feeling, but it could also be very liberating. Especially, the fact that your mind is the world.
Yes,
like,
but especially as an artist, I feel like that can be so trapping because we always talk about how like people say there's no more originality. Things have been done so many times that nothing that you do now is original. So the idea that like all is decided and there's nothing left to discover is like to say like I can't find even anything new, even musically. Like what I'm doing isn't new, like somebody's done it before. But here you are where she's fully creating an entirely new sound despite the fact that she's saying she didn't feel like she could find anything new.
You know what's so crazy in the whole grand scheme of another layer, another paratext? I find that I am seeing a lot of hiatus isms. And to say that there is nothing left to find and to like also influence off of specifically Napalm in this way is to say like, yes, there is nothing left to find, but then again, there is through finding it through somebody else, and it's like even though I'm rechanneling that same energy, it's my energy. It's and new, like it's oh my god!
You have to have the perspective on it that you have something to offer that, as opposed to you're just taking that thing to put it out there for what it is. Like so, yes. Although Hiatus said it already, I got something from what Hiatus said that can be
or even not even what she said, like how she said
right,
it.
Right. And I got something from that can be redistributed in my context for some people to understand it in a different way. And that's life, you know what I mean?
So I was to say, like,
your perspective
it's a
matters.
negative or positive thing about there's nothing left to find. That could be a good thing.
But that's like why. So that's what I'm just saying. Like the power to be able to create these like dichotomies, these oxymorons in this way, and still make it feel beautiful, but also like still make it feel real. It's just such a power. Like it's such a power. Like I remember SZA talking about that in her interview for SOS, where it was like she felt like it was so important to portray both emotions because she felt like it was like a part of her persona to be confident and be that bad bitch, but mentally she wasn't there and she was insecure about a lot of things. And so we get an album that has Conceited and Low on it, but also has Nobody Gets Me and like the other like sad songs. You know what I mean? What's the sad one? The sad one. Special. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not even special, but then you have Conceited. How are Special and Conceited on the same album? But it's because it's SZA and she is like we are not monoliths, like we exist in multi-dimensional emotion and things like that, and the ability to, like I said, portray both of those at the same time without making it like incoherent and confused, and we're still able to like absorb it and understand it and get it. It's like really cool.
It makes sense. I always talk about how artists will save the world, and it feels like because being an artist seems like it's aligned with enlightenment because at the core of it, like I say about simplicity, it's also about just like realizing that there are no boundaries, and what makes it layered is because we're not all here, we're on top of each other, we're not like in like different categories, we're like layered.
For sure.
It's just more complex, and it's about being vulnerable and not picking a side, quote unquote, but like leave it open. Yeah, we've already been dissected this song, so the fact that there's more stuff to like go through.
Because I'm now realizing like I thought I knew the lyrics and I didn't.
No. But that's the thing. It's like the parts that we were going on about, like, you know, the turtle and sand, and at the beginning of the video we were talking about
skin and all that. Yeah.
So we were looking at all those kind of like, I guess, surface or more obvious, you know, allusions, but there's here. It's just here. But yeah, the whole idea of realizing what symptom of life actually like meant in this context was kind of crazy.
When suffering is great in the light, trying to find out.
Wow.
8. Still 8. We'll hold
Still
up
8.
in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I think, like, the first thing I remember about the song, which I remember about Willow, is the fact, like I said, like, she just does catchy, good hook music, and then when you really get into it, the simplicity, the profoundness is like, so effortless.
Yeah.
And this song is like literally like an encapsulation of that.
Yeah. This is a great hit. It's a great hit. This was like a perfect single for the album.
Oh, literally. And it's just so like, it's so encapsulating. It's just so like telling of this album. 1,000 stars.
Definitely 1,000 stars.
Bitch. I wish I could be a song. Like, what?
What Willow song would you be if you could be a song?
This one. This one right here. No, honestly, it would be Split.
No, for sure.
Cause what?
I want to be Fireball.
I'm the fire.
I'm dead. I want to be female energy.
No, literally. Can I be?
I want to be on another planet.
No, literally. Yeah, I'd probably be something off Arthropithecus. Arthropithecus?
Objection to the formal question.
What's that song called that I always listen to?
Marceline?
Yeah, I'd be Marceline. I'd be Marceline for sure.
She said, if y'all won't do it, I'll do it.
Because y'all are sleep as Like, this is the type of artist that becomes, like, a legend. Like, you know what I mean?
She is already a legend.
This is the type of, like, this is the type of shit that we reference Stevie Wonder type vibes, like, 50 years in the past. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, And
it's because she's taking her time. She said patience, pain and all that will come. I'll let it mold me. I'm not trying to find, you know, fame or blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to... She even talked about her main goal right now is discovering her musical, you know, intonations and, you know, things like that. So
the fear is not real.
I'm scared. Like, I'm so scared.
The fear is not real.
Fear is not real.
The fear isn't real. Why are you scared?
True.
The fear is not real.
The fear is not real.
That motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this.
Wow. Love it. Already love it. I already love it because why does she
Fear's just an
know
emotion.
what we're thinking about? Not even just fear. Fear and the idea that fear is like made up.
Yeah.
And you make yourself...
Yeah, you make yourself feel that way. Because the action is the action. It's just the action. You're just reacting to it that way.
The fear that is not real, isn't that anxiety?
Yeah.
You're not that bitch or nothing, but you still ate that little one thing. You ate that one thing.
Not for her to come off of also anxiety as a group and doing that entire album.
Hello.
As a partnership. Because aren't they called the Anxiety? Yeah.
And if this whole album is her like channeling all her previous
I was about to say she's just
into who she is now, that is like I love perfection.
That. Which is also because in the one before this, she's in the background saying "I'm lonely," which is like play to I'm to alone, which we keep saying we hear sonically anyway in the background of so many things. Like I guess it's like you said, it's not even necessarily she may not be purposefully trying to intertwine other albums and projects. It's just that like she's referencing spaces that she's been in, and because she's made projects around those spaces, it is like we're getting that regardless. You know what I mean?
It's like we were just talking about. She's like basically accessing parts of herself
to reference
in her album, and that's cool because it's like accessing those modes.
Referencing yourself is a G-ass thing to do though. When Beyonce does it, I die.
Right, and not even to do it in a blatant way, but to do it in a like
referencing
elusive kind of way is like I love that. Even when we were just saying the overflowing, thinking about overthinking and that whole transformation.
Right, all those little things. Yeah.
And I don't even care if that's the case. That's the feeling I'm getting, and I love it.
Because even like in that way, Arthropithecus is like based off of like something that we already know. You know what I mean? In history, isn't it based off of the guy?
Arthropithecus is like the
first man
Lucy,
or whatever.
Not Lucy, but
But I'm just saying, like, the idea that, like...
Actually, is it Lucy?
She's, like, reinterpreting something that we already understand as fact and, like, part of our history or whatever.
For sure. So she's already been doing it and, integrating it.
And looking into the past.
Funny enough, that I was going to say, to think about the fact that Willow is influencing off of Hiatus. Mm-hmm. Well, you could say that Hiatus influenced off of Willow because she did BMO and Sis already did Marceline. So
For sure.
You know, it's all referential. We're all just one big pot of, like, influence. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
Not to say that they.
This is just all. Like, no, it's just the people who. It's just the specific types of people who were so inquisitive about the world that they went through their existential crisis during Adventure Time, and now they have no choice but to reference it in their future work.
I love that
because I'm sure I'll have a fucking Tree Trunk song in the future. Who are you? What's going to be your song?
I feel very...
What's going to be your Adventure Time reference in the future?
It's going to be Jake's song, the fucking, the pancake song.
Bacon pancakes, that song?
Bacon pancakes.
Bacon pancakes. Yeah. The fear's not real. Let's get into it.
What's the vibe you're feeling for this one?
I don't know, girl.
Like, is it going to give jazzy, rocky, more folk, more... Are you feeling like an introverted or an extroverted energy from it? Because she could subvert.
Yeah, I feel like she may, like, retract.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Let's go. The fear is not real, but I am afraid.
Oh my god!
I'm like on the verge of tears right now.
Wow.
I'm like, this is Insane.
Wow.
Insane.
And I feel you because, like, it's so real in the way that, like, it is truly, like, the intersection of her, like, trying to deal with her spirituality and mental health at the same time.
I don't even know what I was going to say. Like, I just really related. I really related to... And it's actually... It's funny enough that it's transcending the space of becoming a song for me and becoming catchy and good lyrics where I'm now, like... I feel good that other people can feel this way too.
Yes.
It's like I keep saying, like, the simplicity of, like, putting it into words is something that I cannot do.
Yeah.
So it just makes me feel nice. And it feels nice past that, like,
oh, baby.
like hearing the song and then, like, being good to listen to.
Yes. How do I word this? So I think that obviously people, like, chemical imbalances within the brain exist, right? And that people obviously go through their own situations and have their own reasons for why they feel the way that they feel, right? But I think that so much of people's hesitance to accept and to, like,
confront,
bond with the parts of themselves that are ugly is because, like, we as a world and a society have come to this understanding that, like we said, that, like, people are monoliths and that you can only be one thing and that, like, you can only feel one thing at a time and that, like, things are so black and white in that way, and so it makes you feel like if you don't exist in that way that, like, something is wrong with you or you know what I mean? And so I think that for her to be able to paint it in this way and say, like, I can hear in the silence, I can hear inside my mind, in the silence I can't wear my disguise, and in the silence, I don't know what I'll find. I don't really want to feel the freedom because the parts of me I can't see, they want to come out and feel the fire. I don't wonder why. I never want to let me fall to pieces because it's funny. Right. So I say all that to say, it's really cool to see this as an intersection, like I said, of mental health and spirituality because the idea of the battle not being hers is something that I hear from the Bible. The battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. That's, like, a very big sentiment within the Bible, right? And so obviously, yes, with us talking about the idea that, like, you know, life is suffering and it's all about the way that you look at it. But I think that the idea even more so to say that, like, it is not even your battle to deal with the bullshit that we're going through here on this earth because, like, it's almost like how I always saying that, like, the idea of God or that higher being or that, like, wisdom, that North Star in our head, it's almost like the future us in the enlightenment stage trying to, like, help us get to that point. You know what I mean? So the idea that, like, the battle literally is not mine because the fear is not real because the battle's already been won, which is another phrase from the Bible. The battle is already won. Like, victory is had. It is yours. But it is only had if you choose to make your perspective that I am winning this battle.
For sure.
The battle is literally already won.
It's like the idea that you can't change other people. You can only, like, influence your own life.
Your own, but it's so cool because it's like that as a sentiment is so cliche and, like, unrealistic to the life that we're living when you hear it. You know what I mean? Like, you say the battle's not yours, but I'm the one who feels that way when things happen. I'm the one who's, like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, the battle's not mine and the fear's not real, but that doesn't negate my emotions and how I feel in the moment and what's happening. And so it's a really, really hard, like, double pill to swallow when you're, like, trying to be like, oh, okay, yes, life can be better, but it's like, but life is still lifing regardless of, like, what big picture you're trying to paint for me, right? So, with the idea of, like, people's emotions and people being so multidimensional in that way, it is almost scary to think about the idea that, like, things like DID or people splitting or even, like, the different, like, forms of mental disorders in that way is, like, a response to people being forced to be a certain way and not allowing them, like, not being allowed to amalgamate all the things that create them themselves and feeling like they have to be a certain way all the time. Sure. And so because society has caused them to feel like they can be only one thing, their brain has literally separated and splitted the parts of them into different people or different entities that they can't access at the same time anymore. And it's almost like you said, it's crazy for Willow, which we don't know anything about her mental health state, but it's like almost to say that, like, I mean, not to say that mental health problems aren't real, but it's almost to say, like, it isn't real because it is a a construct of the society that we're living in and not truly...
The battle is not mine.
It's not a problem with you. It is not a problem with you. It is a problem with the world that we exist in. And the world that we exist in does not allow you to own all of those emotions and be all of those emotions at the same time. It's like, you can only be one thing. But there's so much power in look at all the power. Like, this bitch just made you cry. Look at all the power in being able to harness all of your emotions at the same time to create a stacked, layered, complex feeling of human existence. You know what I mean? So yeah, the idea, like I said, just the sentiment of the battle's not mine and the battle being won and all these things, which, like I said, to me is like straight out of the Bible and all these other things. Like, she really has found this like intersection and this cross section of like spirituality and mental health that I feel like is so real, because in the grand scheme of things they do align in so many ways, because our spirituality and our mental state are connected. You know what I mean? If you are not in a good mental state, just like our physical state is connected, yeah, and so they all coincide with each other, and when one is suffering, the others suffer as well. When your mental state is suffering, your ability to connect with your spiritual self also suffers. You know what I mean? And so it is, which is only to lend more into the idea that, like, you have to be able to juggle all things at the same time, which is really hard. But the practice of doing so makes you that much stronger. And it's like, it is scary, but the fear's not real.
It's funny that you kept saying Split, because I kept feeling like I was not listening to Split, but also like it felt very coping mechanism as well in this. And I'm realizing Chris Griotti was also
the guy who was on coping mechanism. The one who helped her. Yes.
So that's probably as well why. But this is like my new favorite song ever in life. I will listen to it and cry for.
But I think I need to fall to pieces. It's funny because I think I needed like what?
Wow. Honestly, at the top of my list now, I didn't think there could be a song I loved more than Symptom of Life so far, but wow.
I don't know, like, this is an artist, like,
she is.
We've gotten, like, her screaming, we've gotten her belting, we've gotten her soft falsetto, we've gotten the pop, like, fast cadence, we've gotten everything, and,
it's just some, like, diminished notes, like, very, like, flat.
But that is, like, such a...
She's versatile.
But it's, like, it's not versatile in the way that feels discombobulated either, like, it's versatile, but so intentional that it's, like, it makes it so much more
she has
poignant.
Purpose to her methodology.
Yes.
And it's showing.
That's so... You bitches need purpose to your methodology.
Some purpose that ain't, like, just getting money or, like...
And numbers and charts. Very that. What's the next one?
False self.
Oh, my God.
This bitch... I'm sorry.
Because not pushing and peeling myself out of my disguise.
This Willow is, like...
This tree, this being.
The tree, the bean, the liquid.
The chicken, the egg, the mother, the hunter, the child, the prey.
The false self.
The false self.
Like, and it's funny because I've already looked at these titles before, but now that I'm like tuning into the energy of this all, and now I'm realizing the weight all of these songs can have. False self is like, why? Why? I don't even know what to expect anymore. I just can't expect anything. I don't want to. I want to be surprised.
That I don't wanna justify it, move in silence like an island that nobody wants to reside in. A perfect test, just a few steps, I'll fall out the nest. I'm not gonna fight it, not gonna deny it. I don't wanna crash, feel so attacked on a mad dash in my brain. I'm so attached, I'm so detached, yeah, I don't know, it's all the same, am I insane? Feel the answer change, I don't wanna change, but I need to change. How do I need to change? Ask myself the same every day.
Oh my God.
Truth came back to bite me, but I wanna feel it. It's no surprise. No. Crash, feel so attacked on a mad dash in my brain.
I love this because it's kind of like almost realizing that the person that you've been this entire time wasn't really you, and that like the idea of peeling yourself and breaking yourself down is what's gonna make you find the real you. And I don't know, like, it's crazy because I feel like, personally, the way that I'm relating to the song is because it makes me feel like, I don't want to say invalidates, but it almost makes you feel invalid in a lot of the choices that you make and the ways that you've existed, because you feel like now that you're starting to create this, like, now that you're starting to make progress and find this enlightenment, you're finding pieces of yourself that you don't really identify with anymore. And so it almost feels like you've been a false self this entire time, and you breaking these pieces off is what makes you feel real in that way, or like makes you feel more like yourself. Because I feel like when you get wounded and you go through life so many times, like at a certain point you're all scabs, you know what I mean? And it's like it's all hardened wound, you know what I mean? Like your entire body is like a shell, a casing of scabbage. It's like none of it is you, because you've just been hurt so often that everything was an open wound, and now it's all hardened back, Armor Titan mode. Like there is no thing. And so it's like you have to fall apart to release that false self, and releasing that false self feels like shit because makes you question who you are, you know what I mean? And it kind of makes you second guess everything that you do. And so it's like the answers are changing every day. You never know what the real answer is, and it makes you be like, you're like, I don't want to change because it feels like shit, but you know that you need to change. And it's like, if you don't go through the bullshit, you won't come out on the other side, which is like a really like cool feeling for her to have like put it into words this way.
I don't feel like, I understand what you're saying, and I feel like I've gone through this sentiment before, but I don't feel like at least we shouldn't feel as if our past selves are our false selves in that way. I think, yes, inherently we're always a false self, but we're also always ourselves all the time, no matter what. And it's hard to delineate one time from another when we're literally just keep building upon each other. So I think the idea of recognizing that a different part of your life maybe didn't reflect who you are, and using that energy to like deter you now, just to say like, oh, that was invalid. I think you're invalidating yourself in that way where like you're not allowing those parts to create you. You know, they are a part of your story. And yes, at one time you may have felt differently. I think the thing in healing that is realizing why you felt that way, or what led you to that way, and why you want to feel different.
Okay, so right, so you did. Yes, you're completely correct, and that's what I feel like what I was trying to say in the less negative context.
But I understand what you're saying about it. Also feeling like that part of you feels wrong, and like I feel bad for going through that.
But no, because that's why. So to align what I was trying to say, she says here, "I want to know me, but I can't hear my thoughts." So I feel like that is more so aligned in it, where it's like, it's not necessarily that it isn't you, yes, but when things happen and you're clouded by outside stimuli and your reactions to it and not necessarily your true feelings about it, you start to lose yourself, because all that you know of you is the way that you react, or like all of your wrongs in that way. Like not your wrongs, but like you know yourself in relation to the world around you, not in relation to who you actually are. So I want to know me, but I can't hear my thoughts because of all the shit that's around me. Do you know what I mean? And so I think, yes, like you said, it's not necessarily to say that like what you did was invalid, but possibly that like what you thought you felt about that situation might not have actually been the way that you felt about it, because you have attributed your reaction to your actual personality, which is like, when you reacted in that way and now you look back at it and you're like, I hate the way that I acted, but it makes you feel like you're a shitty person because you did it. You know what I mean? You align your actions with who you actually are. And that is like a really slippery slope to go down. You know what I mean?
You have to be able to allow yourself to grow from that.
Yes. And so,
being that person in that moment.
Yes. And so that's what I'm saying, like the idea of false self, where it's like, you start to create this false self of yourself in your head off of your actions and people's perception of you, and your perception of yourself from people's perception of you. And instead of like getting in tune with what's actually in here, so that your actions can start reflecting what's inside and not reacting to what's outside.
The more we talk about false self, just like every other thing on this album, it's becoming redundant to talk about it. Because I think like when we talk about false self, the opposite of that is our true self, who we want to be, who we're always trying to get towards.
You're called to be,
And I think we always talk about the idea that we'll never become our true selves. We're always just in pursuit of it. So in that idea, that means we'll never be true selves, which means we'll never really be a false self, which means we're always just constantly ourselves, never true or false.
Which is why everything is so great.
It's because it's great, because we're always in a... And in doing so, having a false self or a true self could be good or bad. Having a true self could be good because that's something you want to work towards, or it could be bad because your true self could be something that you're obscuring in your mind to be true.
But the ultimate power is perfecting the gray and being able to channel from both of them.
Exactly. Because we'll never be happy if we're always like trying to be somewhere else or trying to get away from somewhere else. We just have to be where we are and learn from
and that's
the past
literally
and look to the future.
It's so crazy, like we said, what Trixie literally said yesterday, where it's like you're doing all of this expecting a big grand
prize,
party, a pizza party at the end of it all. When the truth is that right now in this moment, the growth, the shedding of false self, and acceptance of true self is the pizza party. Right now, we are in the pizza party. Like,
we should explain what we're talking about.
Oh, right. So last night we were watching Bald and the Beautiful, and Trixie basically was talking about religion and the idea that like that heaven is such a disservice to being alive. Right. It's so like offensive to the treasure, the gift that is life and being here and experiencing things and ups and downs and all those things. And so it's like the idea that like you are following the Bible and all of these rules and guidelines to like get salvation, get this prize, this pizza party at the end, and you miss all of the good that was the journey. And so it's like,
what if this was
the pizza party? What if the journey is the good part about it and you get to the end and there's nothing else there? And that's the end. You wasted your entire life trying to get to something that wasn't even there, and all of the good that was in life you missed because you were chasing that.
And it was right in front of you.
And it was right in front of you. You were there. And so there is a treasure in, like I said, the seeking of higher self and the acceptance of what yourself is in this moment. You know what I mean? And being able to juggle those things.
I love it. Yet again, she's outlining the importance of balance.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm in love with the song again. Yeah. Yet again. And I'm actually enjoying more than the last one, where it's feeling just more like fun. Not to say the other songs weren't fun, but like this one feels so fun in the like dichotomy of being false self, but it's still like a fun song. Like I'm in love. I'm in love with Willow. We are like, she is my spirit animal. Yeah. I'm her spirit animal. Yeah. Like, it's all...
Yeah. Yeah. She's a little too aligned with the universe. I don't know.
I'm living. I'm seeing everything you're doing. I recognize you. Please keep doing
what you're doing. Yeah, I'm about to say, please do not think that this shit is going unnoticed. Because from Ardipithecus to now, this entire time, like, you've been reading the girls, and now you're just reading them more. Like, I don't even know. You're writing the girls now. Like, I don't know what it is, but this is crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy. From coping mechanism to this... It's like a serious... I didn't think it could get better.
It's so crazy, like, thinking about the raw energy of coping mechanism for what it was in itself.
It's like contained, it's like the same thing, but like in a different light.
To think about it in context of this album is like more insane. It's just like, wow.
But it's almost crazy to think about how like coping mechanism is just pure angst and sadness and like, not angst and pure angst, but it is like, it's more so a manifestation of like angst and sadness and breakups and regret and like trying to fix yourself, remorse, all these other things. It feels like but this is like,
this is rounding out that
This
world.
is the mother to that child. Yes. Like, this is the mother to that child. Like,
that was the hunter.
It is right. That was the hunter. Right. And it's like, now we're in this space where like, you know, yes, I am still dealing with what I was dealing with in coping mechanism, but I can look at it in a different light and provide you with that, like, wisdom. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's crazy.
That is like, wow.
Feel the answer change, I don't want to change, but I need a change. Feel the answer change, I don't want to change, but I need a change.
Oh my gosh.
I see what she meant about the
syncopation and
syncopation.
Yeah.
It was going through the whole time. I love it.
Yeah.
Pain for fun.
But it's just like we keep getting these like
oxymorons.
Redundancies, yeah.
Hello, that's life.
The gray area is crazy.
I wonder if I still wonder.
Because she took my entire like
Gray and Grace.
About that. But I'm just saying, like, it's so fucking cool. Like, it makes me feel so, like...
valid?
Seen! Yes! Like, this made an entire project out of something that I've been, like, contemplating and deliberating with you for months. In, like, the way, like, trying to say, like, I've been trying to find a way to say it in this entirety. Sure. And she's like, fuck, what?
But this has come after all. I think it again in context of coping mechanism and her previous albums. This is just where
she went through the work. She did the work. She literally did the work.
But we're all coming out to the same sort of
Hey, what?
I want to talk about about
Willow. What?
Jesus.
Came for fun.
For fun.
There's always and always and always and always and always and always a need. When I see you smile, there's always that familiar feeling.
Sorry, and I don't know if it was just maybe also like the sound of the song with her voice sounded like it, but it just sounded like a Rebecca song. I don't know. It was weird.
There's always that familiar feeling. Oh, there's always and always. Somehow I'm not the only one. Oh, I'm so close to.
I keep getting distracted. Every time she says, "Oh," it sounds like desperately trying to find out.
Or also alone.
Yeah.
But she's in her jazz era, so the slides are sliding.
Okay.
She's been doing slides a lot.
It's cool.
Even the slides, the like what's that called?
Glissando?
No.
Stop it.
That sound. What would you call it? Like a not grip, but like a.
I don't know. Acid?
No. What do they call it? Like, what do they call...
Just noises?
No, what do they call the tone of Paris Hilton's voice? Vocal fry. Like that like, yes, vocal fry.
I find you offensive, so you're not invited to my wedding.
She's using that like she keeps using that. It's been happening like multiple times. Florence does it all the time.
Yeah.
She's doing it like... It's that like the sprinkle of emotion onto it. She keeps on fucking doing it, and it feels
absolutely
like
wonderful. I'm like taken back to that part of the song for some reason.
Yes. Oh, vocal fry. I could not think of the word. Yeah. She keeps doing it. Can we listen to it again?
Sure.
Okay.
She came in seamlessly.
Because I didn't even know until she did the vocal fry, and I was like, oh, that's Willow.
And if I catch a glimpse of you on a high, will you walk away from me and kill my pride? It's hard, 'cause I feel this painful and fun. I'm biting holes like that. So cute. I'm so happy I come down and cry. So alone and so so at home.
Wow, I don't know what it is, but it felt like so many elements of the song felt like symptoms of life. Like there were like parts that were taken from it and put into it, and it felt so cool. Like it just made me. It felt like a completely new song, obviously, but like it felt like it was interpolated or something. Like it I don't know. Maybe it's got similar like melodic hooks or whatever. But wow, and then also to talk about home and alone. Wow, I live, laugh, Lawrence.
Because that's how you create a world. Reoccurring themes, using the same, like,
It feels so, like, in the same world. Like, wow.
I really loved hearing her, like, raw-ass falsetto. I love when she leaves, like, the breathiness and the cracks in. Like, it's so beautiful. But also, like, a happy crying song? Love. Love.
I didn't feel an ounce of sadness while listening to it.
Which is crazy because sonically it is sad. Like it feels very like melancholy, but lyrically she's like, "Girl, this is like I'm like ascending right now."
Yeah,
like,
and that's funny.
This is like floating like
she's really playing on levels
Euphoria
right now.
type vibes. Like I'm there.
Wow, I live.
I also love the idea of I am alone and at home being like when I finally get to the center of myself is where I'm supposed to be. Like the idea that like Earth isn't home. Because we were having this conversation the other day. I don't know what brought us.
Oh, when you're talking about like that people feel more alien than
human. Yes.
I mean that humans feel alien even though.
Yes. Right. Because I heard someone say the other day that like he felt like he wasn't human and that like like he didn't fit into what we like what humans are supposed to be. And I thought it was so crazy that like we as humans have created such a construct to what human is supposed to be that humans don't even feel human anymore. And I think that like only lends to the idea that like we've kind of like we have construed our world so much that like Earth doesn't really feel like a home to people who are so human. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I feel like if you become of the world so much, you kind of stop being human. You kind of just are a robot following the simulation. You know what I mean?
So that makes sense for her to follow through and be like...
When you humanize yourself so much, that's when you... when you humanize yourself so much is when you start to feel invalidated in all of those emotions and the complexities of who you are because you are not aligned with the simple black and white routine existence that like would make it easy to live in this world, you know what I mean? So it's really cool for her to say like, now that I'm alone, I feel at home. It's like the home is in me and in myself and not even necessarily in the world that we live in, because the world that we live in is not created for us to flourish in that way. Like it's we are working to exist in this world as ourselves, and yourself is the home that you will feel comfortable in.
It's so interesting coming right off of false self, talking about the idea of relying on yourself and also not, and then realizing after the fact that yes, you are your center for being. So you are home, and that is in loneliness as well, but there's also beauty in that. So that's cool.
Wow.
And we're about to get through the halfway point of the album, which I also feel like is an important thing. So hopefully like a shift.
For sure. No Words 1 and 2.
Oh, and also St. Vincent, like, yeah.
Oh,
great person to pick, because like I was saying, like when Willow came in, it was like very seamless.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Oh, wow.
She was a good little like a sprinkle of like different types of taste, a different type of taste, because her voice was so
You said Rebecca Sugary,
honey-like in that way. Yeah, like and Rebecca Sugary in the way where like I feel like part of the reason why Rebecca sounds so distinct to me is because like she kind of has like a lot of theaterisms, but while also having theaterisms, she has like, I don't want to say nursery rhyme isms, but like she always kind of feels like a mom or a teacher or like I don't even know what the word is, but it's very soft and like maternal and like nurturing and like just the tone of it all. Like even when we listen to like her songs that she did for Steven and for Adventure Time or whatever, like that little stanza of it, always and always and always and always a need. It feels like a Steven Universe song. Like that.
It feels like what's that one on the EP they did? I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
Yes. Yeah. Or even the other one, the pools one. What's the pools one that they do for the pools?
Pools?
The Infinity Pools, the future one. What song is that? It's a Universe. The song is for the episode. Yes, the episode. Future singing episode. The song, right? Don't ever sing.
Are you talking about It's on? Oh, that's Adventure Time.
Oh.
Time Adventure.
Oh, okay.
Happen.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. So yes. Anyway, this refrain of what she was saying felt very Rebecca because of the
childlike wonder.
Yes, it feels so childlike. It sounds like she's singing to a child. It's always like a lullaby. Like Rebecca's voice sounds like a lullaby always, and I think that's what this was giving to me. Like her number one, just the simple melody felt very like lullaby like, but also her tone and the way that she pronounces it always feels so like rock goodbye baby on the treetop, and it feels so like old and the vibrato and the way that she
I guess
like
you could say it's a nursery in that way.
So like
to be like, period, you are home, you are the center.
Yes, it feels so comforting and warm and hold my coffee mug vibes, which is like so Rebecca, very much warm, hold my coffee mug and get into it. Meanwhile, she's like saying some real deep ass shit, you know what I mean? But it's also so comforting and cozy and like it feels so nice. Like listening to this made me want to see like it made me feel Rebecca's aesthetic.
It's giving no skips so far.
No skips at all.
Oh, this one has no words. No lyrics, I mean.
Not No Words 1 and 2.
When you said No Words 1 and 2, when you were seeing the track list, I thought you meant there were like two different ones. Like No Words 1 and then No Words 2.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize it was
called
like...
No Words 1 and 2. And there are no words. Oh.
from her Instagram, you think?
Because not you gonna give me this interlude and have me goddamn spazzing trying to keep up with the goddamn time signature. Like
1 and 2. Why do you think it's 1 and 2? Another shift. Let's
Willow! With the guitar? Whoa! Okay. Now she's ushering in the
What's gonna happen?
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. All I can say is wow.
She took us down a notch.
Like, no. Wow. Like, truly carry us through your album. Like, there's no possibility of getting lost.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
She is, like, carrying you. Like, very much chaperone. Like, the entire way through. You cannot get lost. She is not leaving you behind. Like, she brings you with the theme. As it's traveling, you have no choice but to be like, oh, here we are.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, let's get into it. She prepares you for each step. Like,
the way that Symptom of Life like fit into the album was so perfect. And now I can't stop thinking about Big Feelings. And listening to Symptom of Life in context of the album has made me like it like way more than I already did. So I feel like that's gonna happen with Big Feelings. Also because we're literally going on a journey, like a direction. So it feels weird knowing where we're gonna end up, but also being like, I'm excited about it. Yeah. And also, I'm interested in what it's going to feel like when we're there.
Yeah.
Now she's making me think about death.
Because it's like you showed us the peak of Mount Everest, but then it's like, you know, if I expect to go up like just like straight up, and you're like giving me the run around, like, girl, what?
I'm still interested about the
journey.
The journey, yeah.
The journey's gonna be crazy. Yeah, because she literally gave us the last song, and then it's like. Well, it's not about the last song.
She gave us everything we needed. She gave us the transitionary song, Symptoms of Life, which is like
the
encompassing song, and then the final one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
And it's so crazy that we have 4 songs left that we have not heard, or including this one, and I'm still like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, like, but I feel like once it's all done, it'll feel literally like a whole thing. The emotional.
This is Down.
Not sure who we are. I won't ever let you down. Down, no more. I don't wanna let you down.
Wow.
Down.
Beautiful.
This is a musician.
You know what?
This is a musician.
You know how we were talking about the lyrics? Also, me going into like, what's it called? Looking into things that probably aren't there. When we talk about like the lyrics, like overthinking and all those ones feeling like past ones, I thought that was cool here. No more illusions, control. Like no control, but now it's no more illusions, control. Again, flipping how you were feeling before into this now. It's like, wow. Also, yeah, it just felt great. This really reminded me, again, going back to Hiatus, of all the words we don't say in that like last final transition of it feeling like that's what the last song going into this felt like we're slowing it down. It's like,
for sure.
I love it. Take it like.
And also, this might be like my music brain reading a lot into it, but I really liked how when she said down. So at the very first one, she says. It says, see that I will never let you down, and it modulates downward, right? And then she says down again, and her run goes up and down, and then on the third down, her run just goes up, and she brings you back up to stay at the top of what the modulation was initially, what the original key was.
Really
so
attention.
it was really, well, only because she kept saying down, and I kept feeling down because the music was going, but then she brought me back up because her run was going up, and so it was kind of cool because it was like, I don't know, it was like, she was slowing us down, but she was kind of like still trying to like keep you know what I mean? So I don't know, it was like really, really cool hearing it because my brain was like trying to like, the two stories were happening differently at the same time, and I was like, like that's really fucking cool that she did that. And obviously, I don't know if that's intentional, but that's what my ear heard, and I was like, that's really weird. Like,
I don't think I've ever seen the word down this long. It looks so weird.
Weak.
Don't you think? Down.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Run, exclamation point.
Run!
A lowercase? Did she already have a capital one here? No? Okay.
So it's like, that's scary.
Excuse me.
It's like urgency, but it's
another
subdued.
oxymoron.
Yeah. Wow. She's a.
She said, "This is life, girl. The materials. Look at the materials. What can I do? It's life. Run. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
I'll let you in with every breath that I take. I spiral around and around and then down, and I'm never fighting back.
Wow. Love that.
Interesting.
The subject matter was interesting.
Yeah, I was interested. Like, you can try to have it. That's not.
It almost feels like she's talking about herself.
You think?
Yeah. This pattern is maddening, making a tragedy that happened that's not even real.
That felt similar to what she was saying about.
Yeah.
Fear is not real.
Yeah. Stop looking at me as if I'm your friend, and please stop talking to me like I'll let you in. Every word that you say, I'll twist it around and around and around. Yeah, it feels like it's almost like trying to say, like, you know, like how you're your own worst critic, and it's almost like trying to run away from yourself, the false part of yourself, the false self that's like not.
And it's funny because I don't know if it was that song, but she was saying that like I want to hear myself, but I can't.
Yeah.
Like I can't hear my thoughts.
Know me, but I can't
hear my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's funny. This is funny, like we were just talking the other day where I was telling you about how it felt, and then later in the day I told you something that almost felt opposite to that. And it's almost like that idea of like, I guess not taking your own advice or even like feeling conflicted. You know, you want to run, you want to stay, but you also want to leave. Like, it's just about, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then, all in all, I guess my thing is that in the song, it felt kind of almost contradictory. So what I was focusing on was the running itself.
Yeah.
And that energy of like...
Yeah, for me, I don't know. It was kind of cool, though, because, like I said, in the context of me thinking that she was talking about herself, to say, stop looking at me as if I'm your friend, and please stop talking to me like I'll let you in. Every word that you say, I'll twist it around and around. And it's kind of like, you know, when you talk to yourself and you kind of talk yourself into a hole.
Or into, like, logic that's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, girl, you know what you did.
Well, but even that, but not even like that, but more so like the way that I think about it in me, it's kind of like making things negative, like twisting it
for sure
until it's like, you know, you're like
until it's something
that is not good anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's like even when the good part of you,
like you just said,
right, and then down until I can't even recognize you. It's like even when the good part of you is like trying to say something Literally. When the good part of you is like trying to say something, but the intrusive thoughts literally take that and twist it so far that you don't even know who the you are anymore. And it's like okay, for me, for example, it's like I feel like my detail-orientedness is like one of my strengths, but my self-criticism and the parts that inside of me twist that up so much that I beat myself up for it. The thing that could be a strength to me now is hurting me because of the way that my intrusive thoughts are interpreting myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of crazy, and it gets to the point where like she says, it gets so far that you don't even recognize yourself anymore when you get to that point, because it's like, well, how, like, if I don't even know how to interpret what I am, then do I really know what I am? You know what I mean? Like, if I don't even know whether or not the attributes I have in myself are positive or negative, how can I define whether or not I'm a good or a bad person? You know what I mean?
For sure.
And so it's kind of crazy.
Then that probably works perfectly, I feel then. I think I was getting a bit of a disconnect because in the theme of the album and the progression of it, it felt like obviously in the realm of self-enlightenment. So it was getting to a place where it was like acknowledging those things and also moving past them. But now that we're past the halfway mark and we're in this place where even in the song specifically, we're getting more and more of self-referential to those things, to that previous song, the fear is not real, the tragedy is not real. So I think it's like interesting. It's like when you're later in your life as well, you're trying to take those things in, but it's almost like we're almost doing it, you know, I'm expecting it to go into that place. But now it's like, we're realizing as in life, like, we get back into that cycle. It happens, you know, we're running from ourselves. Still, even after all the enlightenment, we know it seems like somehow still sometimes we fall into that pit of, like, running away and to ourselves. For sure. Like, so it's crazy. It's very real. Like, she is not letting you down on the, like, realism of the feelings that are going on right now.
Not at all. She's trying to maintain the grade.
As much, like, so much, like, even what I was saying about not picking a side, like, she is doubling down on the fact that there is so much openness to life. To even in this album, if you think you're gonna get some sort of, like,
even for her purposefully to do No Words 1 and 2, you know what I mean? So, like, literally put a song in the middle of the album that's split, you know what I mean? It's like, that the album is meant to be like that. Like, it seems like that's, like, such a real theme, a reoccurring theme, is the idea of, like, having two things at once.
Between I and she, it sounds like a very, like,
what we were talking about.
What?
I and she, what I will be and what I am. I'm between I and she.
Oh, I was just talking grammatically, like, I after you.
Sometimes I don't wanna try to calm the chaos inside, and I just let outside. I just sigh, don't know why. I'm into the purest devotion, shutting off my mind. Right here, everything is here, no need to try. Don't ask questions. Sometimes I don't wanna try to calm the chaos inside.
Wow.
Very much stable.
That was crazy. Also, the fact that we interpreted it completely incorrectly is hilarious.
Yes. What do you think?
But because I feel her breathe between I and she, like between her and the earth.
Oh.
That's what I got. That's what it seemed like she was saying. Calm to the earth because I feel her breathe, sinking to a rhythm between she and I. It seems like she's meditating. Like, literally, she's like laying in the grass.
She is the earth?
Yes. Between I and she feels the rhythm between I and she, between her and the earth when she touches it. So literally, it's like, sometimes I don't want to try to calm the chaos inside. I just let it out inside. So literally breathing, meditating, like I can.
But it's funny that we were saying, she was supposed to be her, but it
isn't that way still.
But she's also finding semblance in the earth itself.
Yes, yes.
You could even say in her God,
the God,
who she worships. I love that.
I can just sit here and be free and only listen to me.
Which
just
honestly
me.
is a subversion in itself. Because
in this moment of purest devotion, shutting off my mind. Wow. This is how you do like spirituality and religion.
I was gonna say like so far I'm just like so happy that she's putting out such a good. Sorry, what?
No, go ahead. She's putting out such a good,
like just like a good like message.
Yes, but also this line here: don't ask questions when life is expressing itself through you and speaking the truth.
I thought that was so interesting because at first, because the way she says it is don't ask questions, and then when life's expressing. Yeah. So normally I'm always like, I think the opposite of that. I want to be inquisitive, so it's her being like, don't ask questions. But when it comes to
through you, yes, don't doubt yourself. Yes, let it use you as a vessel and pass through you.
Love that.
Which is also funny because for her to have done that, and it's like, don't ask why, when she has the question why song in the other album, like another thing of like flopping the things, like you said, no control, why, like she's literally like. Yeah.
She's grown from
recontextualizing things she's already gone through in a new light.
It's like, that's literal
And
growth.
if you're paying the attention...
Wake up. That's another thing. Curious Furious being the idea of being inquisitive,
but also
being mad about it.
But also, just to say that she was introducing us to something that was coming, and you know what I mean? Like, everything is like, yeah. She probably already had this album like idea, you know,
maybe
in the future.
Maybe
that
she
inspired
fully came from that and realized that. And, oh my god, that's probably what makes it so genuine. That it's just raw emotion building up raw emotion, and she just enlightened herself.
Yeah, but that is the power in actually being an artist and having your art represent like your life and the things that you go through, and not just like you said, creating things for numbers and stuff like that. Because like we can sit here and go through a Drake album and be like, yes, it's bars, but I'm not gonna sit here and gag about the fact that you made references to them now, because you're not doing that. Like you're writing songs that are meant to gauge entertainment and like shock value, and so there's no substance for me to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, like these things align with the way that you presented yourself in 2018 and blah, 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 because the way that you are and the person that you are don't ever really align with your art, because you're not using art as a means of expression. You're using art as a means of a job. You get what I'm saying? Sure. So it's cool. It is that profound because of the fact that we are witnessing an artist. You know what I mean? So all of those things that we are saying are intentional may not have been intentional. It's just the happenstance of her existence, because that's how she expresses her truth. You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, and like I said, I don't want to keep using Drake, but, you know, with other people, it's like, you know, if your art is not a representation of the life that you've gone through, and more so, like I said, a job or a means of like wanting to entertain, those like levels of complexity and those layers and those like cyclical things and the patterns and the things that people will notice because I'm relating to it as a human, those things are not going to happen because I don't exist as a human. I exist as a human, not as a job. Like my reality is not like to entertain.
And
you know
to
what
do
I mean?
that to other people who like that kind of music, you're only perpetuating something that's almost false in itself. Yeah, you're perpetuating like a false ideal.
Yeah. Because no one exists in that way. You know what I mean? Like that's not real. Yeah, that's not real.
But yeah,
y'all are sleep as fuck. I might have to just title this video, "Stop Sleeping on Willow."
We have come. Not to the last song, but the last song that is new to us. The second to last song, yes. I Know That Face, period, in quote.
Quotation marks, yeah.
Okay, this is the song that'll bridge us to Big Feelings. So.
Oh my god. I Know That Face.
Yes, I do.
I know that face that you make when you're scared to see all the shadows in your mind. I know you're not facing me, endlessly racing. Let me show you what it's like to know. Light and dark is just a place called home. And see, to see all the shadows in your mind. I know you're not facing me, endlessly racing. Let me show you what it's like. Hard to find, indescribable. Take your time, I don't need to see it. Just decide all I want. Watching you, baby, you're watching. I know that face that you make when you're scared to see all the shadows in your mind. It's like to know. Light and dark is just a place called home.
Light and dark is just a place called home.
Literally,
that's just the perfect.
This is it. This is it. Light and dark is a place
called home.
Called home.
Wow.
I like this line right here. Maybe I'm too urgent to know it all. Which I feel like
Slow down.
It speaks to that thing I always talk
Yeah.
about. Self-awareness is a great thing, but it's also a destructive thing.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm too urgent to know it all. Maybe I'm trying too hard you know, even when it comes to being enlightened, you're trying your hardest to find something that in doing so you actually lose yourself. It's always that plight. You have to find that balance.
I also think I think even to like take it literally with time, I feel like to say maybe I'm too urgent to know it all is to say like, yes, have patience, but also you're so urgent in wanting your full 100%, and you're not even. You have so much more life to live.
Right,
why would you get your 100% now? You know what I mean? Like, you're so urgent and you want to do it all now, but like you aren't even all yet. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get the knowledge that you would have after completing the boss battle on level number 2. That's just life. And so to be at level number 2 and beat yourself up or expect to have all of that knowledge is just to be sad. Like, that's just like...
You're just setting yourself up.
You're setting yourself up to be like, yeah. And
to be disappointed.
So yeah, maybe I'm too urgent to know it all. And it's like to be patient and accept that life is learning and that, like, you know, there's
things to be learned.
Like, value in the journey, yeah, for sure.
Literally
the same. Like, another way of saying the same shit right over again, which is crazy.
Again, bringing back home.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because it's like when you're going through shit with a person and you both are respectively going through your own things and you start to kind of like learn each other's like, you know, isms and things like that. And so it was really cool to see her say like, I know the face that you make when you're scared to see all the shadows in your mind. I know you're not facing me like endlessly racing. And it's like, she's like being comforting and like, you know, like talking, but it's also like, she's like racing over like things that you don't really want to say, but it's like they're like harsh truths and the things that are coming out or whatever. So I don't know. It was like yeah, I don't know. It felt like really like conversational in that way, and it felt very like I said, it just felt kind of like a relationship. It felt like this song was like for a person that was there with her.
That's
going
cute.
through this shit.
I love that.
That's how it kind of felt to me. Yeah.
I guess I see what you mean. It does feel very much like I'm just trying to say it real quick.
Yeah.
Like things that need to be said, but
things that need to be said, right? Just kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off and getting it there.
There's a lot of urgency in it.
But then still, right? But then still pulling back to be like, I know that this is like, you know, let's take our time and really work through this shit because it is hard. But also, I can't sugarcoat this shit because we have to be real. If not, we can't progress. You know.
And you may be right because this is the only song with quotes. And like you said, that sentiment, I know that face is I know what that means now. I didn't understand, like, I know that face. Like, oh, I know that face. Like, I know what that face means.
Which is also just, we were also talking about just like the pillars of humanity and like what it is. And it's like, you know, she's been ticking off certain boxes and now we're getting to the point where she's ticking off the box about community and personal relation and the importance of connecting with people and stuff like that.
Which is very
the importance that connection has in growth.
Very
and
interesting
to
end on this kind of note because like we have been going through the whole when you said alone has been echoing through a lot of the songs, I didn't know what you meant, but now I'm like, oh, for sure it has. And even the sentiment of being alone, she even said in the other one like I don't know anybody, I don't have anyone, no one has me. So I was like, oh damn, I'm not really feeling it. But it's nice to end off on this
but
note.
It's also the idea, like, that's cool that she says that though, like no one has had me or I mean I have not been had or whatever, but it's like we can still have this moment where it's like about connection and personal relation, and it's the idea that like we can be together and we don't own each other. You know what I mean? Like we are each other's, but we're not each other's. You know, we are both respectively our own. You know, beings.
This is like setting her up to have a perfect third album to this, which is all about about community. Even in the interview, she said the coping mechanism is very outward, what she has issue with everything, and then now she's talking about what she has issue with herself, which heals herself, and now she can take that back out.
Yes, to interact with the world in a different way, which would be the third album. It's like being able to like maintain yourself while interacting with the world that doesn't reflect.
That's literally something that they say in like Florence's video, Delilah. There's like a guy narrating, and he says like, learn to love yourself and then learn to love other people. Like, you have to do it in that order. And it's interesting.
Because if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Can I get a, hey, man up in here?
Period.
Literally. And literally, like, you just have to be able to work inwards. But then once you have finished working inwards,
you have to turn that around.
Because then you become stuck in yourself.
Yeah.
So... I would be so interesting to see what this third one because it'll be like, it's really building off of each other so much. That's so interesting. I know.
All right, well, now we're at the last song.
Right.
And it's a song we know, Big Feelings.
I've got big feelings.
I have such big feelings.
Feelings.
Okay. You ate.
Can't shut them
You ate that one little thing.
Had the little...
You ate that one little thing.
You're not that bitch or nothing, but you still ate that little one. That little one thing, you ate that one thing.
All right, let's get into the last song. We're finally about to wrap up this album, Empathogen.
Oh,
It has big feelings.
It has been an empathogen.
Literally.
Literally, like, injecting your empathy on me, Willow? How dare you?
How dare you? But that's art.
No, literally. And I feel great to be...
Because change the world without even knowing you're changing the world, girl. You better fucking, what's it called? Subliminal message us?
Subliminally DM us.
Not you subtweeting.
I'm dead. Is that what that is?
No, subtweeting is like
It's like-
saying something without saying who you're talking about.
It's like talking out your neck.
But without being direct. Nikki does that all the time.
She loves subtweeting?
She be on Twitter saying such subliminal shit.
No, because
Like,
she
she'd
gotta
get
hit
on
3
Twitter-
people at the same time.
No,
It's
that's
not
true, that's
three-
true, that's true.
2 birds, 1 stone.
She'd be on Twitter like talking about something little birdie. And it's like, girl, we all know talking about Meg. Just say Meg. Like, girl.
Why do we always circle back to Nikki?
Because
She is the opus.
she is, yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
If she's not one of your references, then I'm not reading your paper.
if she's not on your mood board, honey, I don't want to see the collage.
I don't want to be here, yeah, literally. Anyway, big feelings.
Yeah.
Pause. Also, have you noticed every song starts off with like a muffled voice in the beginning of it?
I didn't notice till just
That's
now.
like maybe the 4th or 5th time that it's happened, that it started off with like a little like...
The first song was like that, I remember.
Yeah, it's like somebody's voice in the booth and then it intros. That it's keeps happening.
What if it's like a sentence?
Yeah, I wonder like what that is. Yeah.
Maybe
I
she
think-
took like the recording, like the
It's
when
the
they were
booth
studio,
recording.
yeah.
Yes,
but she
but-
takes like the first bit, but when they
But that's
started.
like again just leading into it, the balance of like studio and like acoustic raw like real life. It's like, yes, this is a studio version and it's a produced song, but also don't forget like I was a real person who recorded this in the moment, and it's like
Look at that. No, what does it say? The second one.
every story begins with a sketch. Literally.
Every story begins with a sketch.
Literally. Yeah. Wow. That's cool. That's so cool. Okay, big feelings. Wow.
Such big
And to end off with such a good vibey song, she didn't leave you crying like...
I know I'm not fine, but yes, I say, can't shut him down or let him know. I have such big feelings.
Can't shut them down without a sound.
Acceptance gives me wings. Such big feelings. You have problems. I know you have problems. I say I'm fine. Can't shut him down or let him know. Acceptance is the key. I know you got problems. Problems, yes, I have so many problems.
Wow.
10 out of 10.
Wow.
10 out of 10. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I felt it.
Yeah, very that.
I felt it.
Very that.
She said that.
She ate that up.
Very f***ing that.
Wow. I think I was right in thinking that re-listening to this at the end of this journey really felt
different
full.
things.
Felt different.
Yeah.
Felt full circle. It felt like, wow. Like I was listening to the song for the first time again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You know what's so interesting? I remember one of my first times listening to the song, or probably the first time, when she gets to the end of her first little bit. It sounded like the song was gonna end there.
Yeah, because it stops and then it comes back in.
And it's so interesting when I thought about that, thinking like this is how the album ends, and then for her to come back and to end on, yes, I have so many problems as a theme, to be like when I was talking about Run and how we were trying to shift into a more enlightened place, she's ending on a note of, I am in motion, I have problems, but the song finishes complete. Like, it resolves itself. Yeah. Whereas, like I said, in the previous, like, when it finished, it didn't resolve itself, so it was like, the song is ending, but it's not supposed to be ending. And she's saying, I'm ending on this open note to be like, life is like that. It is open-ended. There is no, like, final lines or anything. You know, it's just a feeling of finality. Yeah.
This was, like, such a greatly crafted body of work.
It
like,
was.
Chris, Willow... Y'all ate down.
Zach.
Y'all ate down. Musically, lyrically. Spiritually, like, wow. Truthfully, like, so inspiring.
Literally.
So inspiring. It's also so inspiring for me because I think that when I first started making music, there was always a natural part of me that was, that created music that was, like, multidimensional. And I think that because so many of my original muses and like inspirations were people who did stuff like that. One of the main ones being Frank, and he's good for a beat switch. Like, do not get comfortable because at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the entire song is going to fucking change. And I think that like I started to perceive that as a negative thing for a while after that, because I think that like I used to be so like when I would produce and stuff like that, I would always make such huge drastic changes in the stuff that I was creating. And I think that a lot of times like people would like say like, oh, it feels so like disconnected or disjumbled or whatever. And I think that she's like really, really mastering that. And I think I got so far to the other direction where it was like I tried to stop doing that so much that it became like extremely like structured and pop vibes, or it was like it had to be this to be digestible and entertainment like for the world. You know what I mean? And I think that it's like so inspiring for her to have utilized the idea of like switching everything up every 5 seconds and still allow it to feel like cohesive and chronological and all that way, because there were so many beat changes and stops and pauses and switches of emotion and vibe and stuff like that, but it lended to the story, it lended to the feeling, it lended to all those things. And so, but even within that, she was still utilizing very like repetitive, catchy choruses that would be on the other side of the spectrum, you know what I mean? And so
it was a balance of both.
Like I said, it felt like something that I had processed in my head as a negative thing, and it's making me like want to revisit the idea of how I used to approach music in that way, because I think that I originally approached music in that way because I felt this way. It was like it made no sense for a song to continue being the same for too long, because I, in my thought process of writing it, would change. Like, I would write, and then I'd be like, I want to go another direction. And while it is a good practice to, you know, force yourself to streamline and work through things, it is also just as good of a practice to allow yourself to, whatever the word is, to deliquesce and liquefy and go into different directions in that way. And so, it was really fucking cool inspiration to, like, see her do that and like utilize it in that way in a positive like light, because it didn't feel like discombobulated or disjointed in any way, shape, or form, even though it was such a drastic change. Like the contrast was crazy. Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go write a book now.
No, literally, like I want to go. Like, what? I want to go lay outside in the grass and feel the vibrations of the earth. Like
I want to feel the earth.
Like what, bro? Love that. Y'all slept on Willow. Y'all were sleeping on her, and I don't know why. Like,
literally, like, and the funny thing is, we were listening to Coping Mechanism when it came out, being like, oh, period, Willow. Yeah. For it to be like this blown out the water, like, yes. I said that, and I did all that. and y'all could never do rock, ever. You've never done rock.
You've never done rock.
Never seen heavy metal, never seen her in your life. And then to come out with this as a follow-up with so much intentionality, so much acceptance, like, I don't know. Like, this is like I said early on when I was listening to The Fear Is a Lie or whatever. It just feels like it's becoming
fear's
something.
Not real.
Fear's not real. It's becoming something more than just music now.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hitting.
And it really is more than just music.
Or rather, it's hitting the mark that music should be hitting.
It's art.
That art should be hitting.
We're getting to the point where it's like we're doing universal truths and activism and trying to help the people around
positivity,
us.
literally vulnerability.
Yes.
Not being afraid to say the bad with the good. Like.
And it's also really cool though because I think that her as a black person and as well as a black person within the media, as well as a black, like, queer person in the media, because she has always been a representation for gender fluidity and queerness in that way. I think that for her to be choosing to go down this path of music the way that she's doing it is really, really, like, poignant because no other Nepo babies are doing this right now.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Very true.
The girlies who are doing this are the Anikos who are struggling to get chart numbers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the girlies who are out here, like, trying to be inquisitive about our existence are not the girls who are, like, at the top of the charts. For sure. And they're surely not the girls who are coming out of, like, celebrities that already exist, usually. You know what I mean? Like, Nepo babies always get the bad rap within our society.
Like that, her and Jaden have been like that.
But they've been like that, but the media has not allowed them to be like that. Like, we as fans of them have always seen that, but we already know the idea of, like, being a black artist in the world right now is, like, you are so confined to, like, specific criteria as to what we're supposed to be. If you're not twerking, like, it's almost like you're not black. As if you're not, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not out here throwing ass as a black woman and wearing bust-down wigs, it's almost like, well, you're not a part of the culture. But why? You know what I mean? Why is that? Why is enlightenment and like, growth and all these things, like, not a part of something that we want to, like, carry with us? Like, it should be. So I just love that. Like I said, especially because she's already in the industry, and it's not like coming from I don't want to say a human being, but, like, a common folk that's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt and shush it away. It's like, this is a person who is in the bullshit being like, this is bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, utilize your fucking platform. This is a shit I want to see. You niggas should be trying to use your platform to grow yourself, to then grow the world. Like, you have that power. With power comes great responsibility, my nigga. And you either get to be a villain or a superhero. I mean, it isn't that black and white, but it is. And you have to choose what you are going to use your fucking influence for.
Or rather, not choose which path you want to go down.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what legacy you want to leave behind. I fucking love it that she's, like, really, really... Because we need this. This is healing.
Yeah. And I thought it was so interesting. I'm realizing that with this song and then the last one, if I'm paying attention correctly, it seemed like the only two songs that talked about another person in that way. Yeah, if anything, I just hope she just continues on the path she's on. I'm
loving it.
She's loving the girlies we love, implementing their structure. That's what I was saying, thinking, to bring up hiatus again. It seemed like she very much paid attention to how she can slip into different pockets and, you know, she did something with that. She was like, period, I can do that too. Yeah. That's fun. You can do it. Period.
And doing it through the jazz lens allows you to really do some cool shit. Because, you know, since jazz is supposed to be so experimental in that way, she can do all of the, like, different stuff without it, like I said, feeling discombobulated. Because the jazz isms are the things that are, piecing it all together. Yeah. You know? There's an order to the chaos in that way.
That's probably why jazz is so cool. Because there's like, harmony in the disconnection.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's art.
But also, like you said, to say, for her to choose this genre to portray that thought of gray area is perfect.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because that's really what jazz is the breaking down of classical music in something more expressive.
And she,
you know what I mean?
Integrated lots of rock elements into that.
It's like ballet to contemporary as jazz is to, as classical is to jazz. You know what I mean?
I see.
You take the rules and structure and then you break them out of the rules and structure into the fluidity that is expression and human existence. You know what I mean? And that's what, like I said, that's what jazz is to classical. You learn it and you learn all the notes and it's like, we have a structure. And then it's like, but what if and then you start doing all this, you know? So it's perfect.
I love it. I love it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Willow girl.
Thank you.
You're out here doing service to the community.
Literally the Lord's work.
Yeah. No, for real.
The Lord.
For real. You're out here doing the good work.
Yeah.
Reading the good word.
This is the
spreading the gospel, goddamn.
I've now read it all. No. Wow. I want to listen to it again.
No, literally. Now we gotta go listen to it by ourselves, for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, if I was by myself, I would be bawling after I heard The Fear Is Not Real. Like, actually, maybe I need to turn this off and go walk outside. That's just how much it affected me. Wow.
Yeah. That was really, really good.
I'm so happy we live in this world. That's how I felt after Coping Mechanism was like, I'm happy I live in this timeline where this album can exist for me. Just me.
Wow.
Wow. Period. Another round of applause.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Not for the benediction.
Bye.
Bye. Literally bye.
Bye, guys.
We're about
This
to go
was fun.
bask in the glory that is existence. Really
But honestly, no, because just the last thing, I definitely feel that I'd be staying up late to do artwork, and it's like, why does my mind feel awake? Like all of a sudden, like not awake, like I've awakened, and like it's easier to get ideas out. It's, I don't know, it's not about the silence, but then also just the it's just very serene. Like
I don't remember what it was.
Night.
I think we might have. I think even in Dexter, something might have happened where he said something about that, like doing stuff late in the night is like a better opportunity or something like that.
Well, like if you remember when we watched How I Met Your Mother, they had that whole thing. Ted's whole thing was like, never do anything after 2 a.m. Or never make decisions.
Yes.
Just go to sleep.
Only bad decisions are made after.
Which also I've experienced as well. Like the idea of like, maybe if I went to sleep, none of this chaos would have happened. At the bar. Like,
because my mom used to say the same thing. Like nothing good happens after 2 a.m. And it's like you don't need to be up because there just isn't anything possibly good that could come out of that.
And I think just your brain isn't at a capacity where it can make those kind of like.
But
adult
that's kind of
decisions.
cool in the idea to think that like that's something that we have come to understand through like media's control over like, you know, what our normal is and like our time routines and the way that we exist. But in reality, like we probably could have been reaching so much more enlightenment if we were utilizing those times and where it probably is like a thinner veil between the worlds. Like we probably could be waking up at 2 a.m. and like doing astral projection practices and stuff, and it would be a more likely chance because the world is asleep and, you know, like I don't know, whatever, you know, I'm just saying like in the fantastical world of possibility,
maybe like,
you know,
it's cool, it's easier because around in your general area, like the spiritual energy is asleep as well, so it's easier for your like to
absorb and like to get through all the ways.
Just to be more in tune because there's less things. Just anything like when you want to be in a more quieter sense, it's the same idea, but like the energies are quiet too, so it's like, let me breathe. But also we have to sleep, so
no, very that.
Basically what we're gonna do is dance.
All right, let's go.
We should end it like that.
Basically what we're gonna do